Let's examine some examples of infographics and evaluate them according to the basic principles and elements of design. First, we examine an infographic titled Homeless Health Check and evaluate it for consistency, simplicity, balance, and careful use of color and contrast. Design elements here are used consistently. The same font is used throughout, and there's a repetition of a pattern of two text bubbles with an icon between. The graphics are simple. For instance, the human figures are identical and lack distinguishing details like faces. The infographic appears well balanced overall, with a logical layout, including a judicious use of white space and margins, and near symmetry on left and right sides. However, some students have observed that the header banner lacks balance, as there are pictures of a clipboard and stethoscope on the left side and nothing on the right side. Another reason this might seem imbalanced is because there are three mustard-colored human figures, but there is a mismatched ambulance in the bottom right corner. Color and contrast are used effectively here with fairly muted shades of plum, mauve, coral, blue, and teal. The white font offers contrast, yet is still readable. The font itself is an inoffensive sans serif font. Key words in the text bubbles are bolded, and the percentages are enlarged. These choices make the most important information stand out. The copy in the text bubbles is not censored, which creates a problem of white or blank space in some of the bubbles. The graphics are well selected. Each of the humanoid figures has a detail that reinforces the issue faced by that segment of the homeless population. Thus, the physical health issue is reinforced by the leg cast. The mental health issue is reinforced by the image of the brain and the humanoid figure holding its head. The drug and alcohol problem is reinforced by the figure holding a bottle and a syringe. Lastly, the emergency room and hospital visits are reinforced by the ambulance image. In terms of proofreading, the header should be capitalized like a title, with the words health and check capitalized. The copy overall is brief and minimalist without sacrificing clarity. Finally, note at the bottom there is a URL for reference. The purpose of this infographic appears to be to inform a general reader of the health problems faced by homeless individuals, but it does not offer a call to action or attempt to persuade the reader to take any steps. Let's now turn to our second infographic example, the digital lives of American moms. This infographic also seeks to inform a general reader about a subject, but it is unclear what the reader is supposed to do with this information. For the most part, sources for the information here are not cited, and a savvy reader might question where the infographic creator found these numbers. This infographic achieves consistency with the color scheme, relying on shades of gray, black banners with white font for subheaders, and pops of hot pink. The use of hot pink, one could argue, is appropriate because pink is associated with femininity. But one might also argue that the use of pink reinforces a particular gender stereotype. The infographic's layout, while generally directing the reader's eyes downward and prompting the reader to scroll down, also seems a bit overcomplicated, as there are three different sections containing quite different elements. The first section, with its bar graph and two-tone gray image of mother and child, contains a lot of white or unused space. In the middle, this section lacks balance and symmetry due to the cascading computer screens on the right side. The reader may not know where to look, or whether the image is supposed to accompany the bar graph or the cascading computer screens. Additionally, to some viewers, the two-tone gray image resembles a mother playing piano rather than a mother on a laptop with a child looking on, although arguably the white Wi-Fi symbol clarifies the scene. The subheaders, Top 5 Family and Lifestyle Sites for Moms, and Top 5 Social Networks and Blogs Among Moms, both have asterisks. It's not initially clear what these asterisks link to. It's possible that the middle subheader's asterisk corresponds to a footnote at the bottom of that section, which explains how to read the statistics given above. However, if one scrolls all the way down, we find a second footnote at the very bottom, which could correspond to either of the subheaders above. The asterisks are confusing, and the location of the footnote at the bottom is inconvenient. In terms of proofreading, there are minor errors. The first subheader should have the word sites capitalized. In the hot pink bar graph, only one of the lines has a period. The other two lack end punctuation. There are other grammatical and punctuation errors in the copy of the section titled More Facts. This infographic is not the strongest example of the genre. Our third infographic example is titled, Is Your Bachelor's Degree Worth It? On first glance, this infographic appears busy and cluttered. Nevertheless, it is overall balanced, in that all spaces are equally filled and there are no glaring areas of white space. The color scheme is suggestive of professionalism, with black font and a parchment-style background that resembles the type of cardstock on which we used to print resumes. Meanwhile, the blue whirlpool pattern for the header words "Worth It" and the graduate's cap and gown suggest a bit of whimsy, but not in a distracting way. The layout is dominated by a left-to-right movement due to the fact that the main header and introductory paragraph are on the left side, and because there is so much copy. The layout is logical for the information provided. The infographic could be said to lack consistency because there are several different types and sizes of fonts and images used. The paragraph is in sans serif font, while the subheaders are in a non-matching serif font. We also note that punctuation and the capitalization of the subheaders is again inconsistent for the rules of capitalization. Probably the biggest issue with this otherwise interesting infographic is the sheer amount of copy and the tiny size of most of it. Simply put, there are too many words on the page, and the font of some of the more important information is much too small. Your copy should be succinct and simple, as this is predominantly a visual genre. We come now to our final infographic example, World Octopus Day. This infographic is the most visually arresting of the four due to color scheme, layout, and graphics. The purpose of this infographic seems to be to inform the general reader about octopuses, to entertain, and implicitly to invite the reader to visit the National Aquarium. The layout does not direct the reader's eyes to travel in any particular route across the screen, which might be problematic for some viewers. However, each section of information is logically demarcated by a dotted line boundary. There is no white space. The fact that the boundaries are dotted lines rather than solid lines suggests that the factoids are loosely connected with one another, a suggestion reinforced by the way the large orange octopus image on the left side has tentacles that descend to the section below. Each section contains a succinct paragraph of copy offering a factoid, and most sections are illustrated with an image. In terms of the simple color scheme, the bright orange shade provides good contrast to the white and blue. Some viewers may find it difficult to read white font on a dark blue background, but white is a better choice for letters than black would be given the darkness of the blue shade. The variations on the font size and capitalization of the subheaders provides more visual appeal and suggests a degree of playfulness, which is fitting for the subject matter. We hope these 4 examples and our evaluation of the design choices made therein inspire you to be creative and intentional in the design of your infographic as you proceed with this assignment.